Hi everybody, in this video I'm going to just explain how I prepare my my wood handles or knife blocks in preparation for fitting into the knife. Now there's already a previous video on stabilising, and the noise you can hear is my vacuum pump running. This is my vacuum chamber here. So I'm not going to go into detail on wood stabilising. You can find that if you search my channel, you'll find the video on stabilising wood. So this is the next process on from that, but I'll just show you quickly the vacuum chamber. Well, there's the vacuum chamber and the actual vacuum gauge itself and the valve, and just down here is the wood hardening resin, rather it's thermosetting resin called cactus juice, which I have to import from the States, and you can see the wood beneath that, and you can just see a few bubbles still emerging. Certain woods stabilise very readily, like birch and spalted woods, but if you get some really hard woods like oak and ash and yew, walnut, those sort of woods, I found to get a real good penetration of the resin, you've got to leave them in the chamber for a good 24 hours to vacuum, and then sometimes it doesn't hurt leaving them for 5 days, because I've noticed when I remove the vacuum this level will drop. I've noticed over a period of 5 days it still drops even more, so it's taking more resin into the wood. So it's not a quick process. If anyone's got the thought that vacuuming wood is a quick process for stabilising wood, certain woods yes, but other woods no. Well, this is the end product, and it comes out of the stabilising chamber. Then it's cooked for a couple of hours in the oven to actually harden the resin. And this is the last stage in stabilising the wood. And as you can see, it's really nearly a week's process to get to this stage if you want to do it really, really well. This is a piece of oak. Anyway, sometimes it's just easy to sand that off. But you can see it's gone very, very hard. The resin's penetrated, and I can just try and put a bit more off so you can see. That's coming off now. You've got to wrap it in foil, because when it hardens it sets up like glue, and if you've got two pieces of wood touching each other when they're in the oven, there's every chance they'll just bond. So there's my blocks, which are now stabilised, and you can see I've cleaned most of the I've cleaned up the flats, or the sides rather, and it just gives me a nicer material to work with. It gives me flat surfaces, so when I put them on the saw they rest on the table and the fence accurately. And also when I come to drill the handle holes, they sit on the drill bed flush as well, so there's no rocking, and it enables you to drill accurate holes. It's always nice to have good materials to work with, you know, and cleaning them up like this, even though it's not strictly necessary, it just makes the whole process of making a knife much easier and much more accurate. Okay, we've got our scales now cut in half, or block rather, cut in half, and you notice that because it was cut from a block, it's what's called book matched, so that each side corresponds. And to maintain that orientation, what I then do, I then decide which I want to be the front. I'm just thinking now which I want to be the front. Probably that. So what I then do, I then just mark and put an arrow. So that tells me two things. Firstly, it tells me that this is the outside and that's the outside, and that's front and that's front. So when I come to fit these to the knife, I then know which is the best way to orient them. Next thing now is to just sand up and level up this area here, and for that I use my little 4-inch belt sander. Well, as you can see, they're quite flat now, and they're clean on the inside. Well, here's the result of my morning's work so far. I've finished off my scales to the pre-liner stage. Next stage, as I say, is to hand rub these on a level plate to make sure they're perfectly flat. They're very good now, but just to make sure that they're perfectly flat, I finish them off by hand. But I don't do that for a little while because using the 4-inch belt sander, it does heat the wood up a little bit, and there's the possibility that they may develop a very minor warp due to the heating from the sanding. So I leave them for a few hours to rest, and then any minor warp that develops is removed by hand. Here's a set of scales that I did yesterday, and these have been rubbed out and they're nice and flat and even now. This is desert ironwood, and these are the liners. So simply it's just a matter of just keying them up and gluing them on, clamping them down, and waiting a day for that to go off before fitting them to the knife. Well, I do hope this has been of interest to some of you, and you've can understand some of the processes and lengths that I go to try and produce a quality item. In my next video I'm going to be looking at some of the more finer points of heat treating 01 tool steel. There are no great secrets to it, to be honest with you. But we all, as knife makers, tend to sort of develop little methods and little ways of perhaps fine-tuning the process and getting the best out of the steel. And I'll also be including measurements of hardness of steel in its anneal state, in its temper state, and in its hardened state, so you can get a comparison as to how each process alters the steel. So till then, many thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye for now.